In this reboot, the linear storytelling part that has been the staple of past series has been dropped in favor of a semi-open world, which has Kratos as the main and only playable protagonist, along with his son Atreus. The original games were based on the Greek mythology, while the reboot is now set in Norse mythology. In this video, I aim to outline my opinions on God of War 2018. Santa Monica Studios opted to change the camera angle from fixed to third-person perspective, one of many changes brought to the franchise. The studio also modified weapon upgrades by removing the convenience of upgrading from the power menu. You can now upgrade by visiting the dwarf's workshop. You can also alter your armor to change Kratos' look and to add a slight buff to your attributes. God of War 2018 has a semi-open world, so you can leave the main quests to complete the side missions. These you will need to acquire the completionist father and son trophy, that is the platinum trophy. The primary weapon has been changed from the Blades of Chaos to a Norse weapon called the Leviathan Axe. The Leviathan Axe is another Nordic weapon with the boomerang features just like Mjolnir. This is because they were both forged by the same blacksmiths from Svartalfheim. I probably butchered that. Wielding this axe gives you an impression of its heft, which shows during combat. Okay, let's talk about puzzles. I don't know what it is with the industry and puzzles, but none of them can seem to get it right. And it's very confusing to me because you don't need them to make a good game. So if you're not going to try, then don't bother with puzzles. These games' puzzles are uninspired and repetitive. And like I often say, most people have access to the internet, so even if they get stuck, they can always look up these puzzles. Puzzles nowadays don't teach you anything. They don't allow the player to think. In my opinion, I think this is quite unfortunate. But I think puzzles can be a good way of fostering critical thinking and problem-solving skills, which is vital for navigating everyday life. There have been a lot of unnecessary hand-holding in the industry, to be honest with you. Alright, let's talk about the bosses, or lack thereof. The boss battles were fine, but I think the game would have benefited from more enemy types. There were a few unique enemies, but the rest was a variation of trolls and ogres. The game's combat was solid in my opinion. It felt like I was playing a Thor game, but except I can't fly or use the lightning, and it's with Kratos. I thoroughly enjoyed it. However, I did have one problem with the combat, and that's with the new camera view. Unlike the old games, the camera view was fixed, so it was easier to see who you were fighting compared to the new camera from the back view, which makes it slightly difficult to battle multiple enemies. You are given a small red arrow to indicate when an enemy who is out of view is about to attack you, and it doesn't help that Kratos is very slow in this game. God of War 2018 is a graphical work of art, just like most AAA games. With numerous technological advancements throughout the years, these games are now able to provide a more realistic cinematic experience, a true upgrade from the original. However, games sounding and looking great is not the problem of modern AAA gaming. Talking about the problems of modern AAA gaming, another thing that irked me with this game and a growing trend in the industry is the lack of the ability to skip cutscenes. Initially, when the game was released, you couldn't skip cutscenes. We get it, the game looks good, but if you are anything like me and you play games more than once in a short period of time, these good looking cutscenes overstay their welcome real quick. Let's not forget that it is a video game after all, and giving people options is never a bad thing in my opinion. But there is good news. I think they made an update to allow people to skip cutscenes in the game now. Music sounds great to me and does its job well to complement the scenes or parts where you hear them. The voice acting was very well done in this game. Watching cutscenes is a joy. It is so well done, it feels like you are watching a movie. Coupled with the beautiful visuals is very good in my opinion. After Kratos decimates the Greek pantheon, Kratos, who we thought was dead, made his way to the Norse realm, where he met a giant woman from Jotunheim and started a family with her. They had a son who they named Atreus after a great warrior from Sparta. Something happened to Faye and she fell ill and passed away, so Kratos and his son decided to fulfill her last wishes to have her ashes scattered at the highest peak in all the realms. After setting Faye's body on fire, Kratos and his son set off on a hunt to prepare Atreus for the dangerous task ahead. On the journey, Kratos finds out that his son is not ready for the task and calls it off for now. After returning home, Kratos and his son start arguing when a stranger angrily knocks on the door. Upon opening, who else but Balder, son of Odin. Balder has some questions for Kratos, but the god of war was not having any of it. Balder starts a fight with Kratos, and Daddy Kratos lays down the smackdown on Balder, killing him, or so he thought, and the dangerous journey to the highest mountain top begins. Kratos in this game is much older and wiser. He's still a badass, but less angry and arrogant. He has a son who is trying to make his way in the world after the mysterious death of his mother, Faye. In this game, Kratos is still killing gods, but not out of revenge. Rather, he is defending himself as he tries to honor his wife's last wishes. Despite being a god, Kratos is slower in this game, and his age is not a good excuse for this. After all, he is the god of war, as the title of the game suggests. Faye is Kratos' wife and Atreus' mother, but we don't know much about her. As a result, it is hard for us as the players to understand why Kratos and Atreus care about her death, other than her being a loved one to them, and to feel invested in her as a character. The game does not do a good job of conveying Faye's significance to Kratos and Atreus, so it's hard for the player to care about her death as the main driving force of the plot. It would have been helpful to know more about Faye in order to better understand the motivations and emotions of Kratos and Atreus. Atreus is Kratos' son and plays a role in both gameplay mechanics and problem solving in this game, and also part of the puzzle problem this game has. Just like most AAA games, in some puzzles Atreus is programmed to solve the puzzle for you, so if it's taking you a little bit more time to figure it out, the game freaks out and Atreus gives you hints, so pretty much the game solves the problem for you. I know why they do this. It's because they don't want people getting frustrated and quitting their game because they are stuck. But I have a solution. It would be nice if they had a toggle button in the menu. Option A, let me figure it out. Option B, give me hints. I think this will be a happy medium so that people who want a challenging puzzle can still get it, and people who don't can just choose option B. You can order Atreus to use his arrow in combat, and there are moments where Kratos, Atreus, and Mimir bond over stories. While Atreus is generally fine in this game, there are sections or parts in this game where Atreus is so annoying and disrespectful to Kratos, which can be frustrating for players. In this moment, you may feel like using your axe on Atreus. In this game, Freya was the wife of Odin, the leader of the Valkyries, and also the mother to Balder, the invulnerable tattooed dude Kratos fought in the beginning of the game, and also the main antagonist of this game. In Norse mythology, his death brings the end of the world, Ragnarok. Freya in this game is also known as the witch in the woods because Odin, being who he is, banished Freya with magic, trapped her in a forest in Midgard. She mostly helps Kratos and Atreus in figuring out obstacles and healing Atreus when he's short-circuited. Another thing that doesn't make sense with Freya in this game is with how obsessed she is with the mistletoe. You're telling me that she didn't notice Atreus was rocking one in plain sight when she was telling them to destroy any they came across? I don't know why writers and directors don't think this thing's true. If Kratos had completely covered the quiver when he fixed Atreus' quiver, it would have been more believable if Kratos had covered it with a cloth, ensuring that the scene when Balder punches Atreus and breaks the magic would still work. In conclusion, God of War 2018 was a decent entry to the God of War franchise, although it fell short in some aspects like the shitty puzzle system, horrible camera angles during combat, and a few story contrivances. All in all, God of War 2018 was a good time with an okay story.